Breaking news this morning. We're going to begin with the dangerous international tensions over that horrific attack in Syria. And news now on that new strike on Syria after the suspected chemical attack killing 40 citizens, including women and children in the city of Douma, that's just outside the capital of Damascus. President Trump now issuing a series of threatening tweets saying President Putin, Russia and Iran are responsible for backing al-Assad. Big price to pay. Russia now firing back this morning, calling reports of the attack a hoax and warning of serious consequences. So let's go right to ABC's chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, who's with us this morning. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, David. These images are so disturbing. The children, the families in such distress, and already there are claims of retaliation.
Overnight, a watchdog group reporting 14 were killed in a missile attack on a Syrian airbase. Pentagon officials say the U.S. is not conducting airstrikes in Syria. Russia and Syria claiming Israel is responsible for the strike. This follows that suspected chemical attack in Syria on Saturday. These chilling images appear to show the aftermath. Medical workers washing off young children and infants who are struggling to breathe. Many of the images too graphic to show. Entire families appear to have been killed by the attack. Rebel activists and rescuers say at least 40 are dead, suffocating from an unknown substance. The suspected chemical attack came after a months-long siege on the rebel-held district of Douma, near the Syrian capital of Damascus. While U.S. intelligence is assessing the strike, President Trump called it a mindless chemical attack in a tweet and blamed President Putin, Russia, and Iran for backing al-Assad. His first denunciation of Russian President Vladimir Putin on Twitter. The White House not ruling out a military response.
I wouldn't take anything off the table. These are horrible photos. We're looking into the attack at this point.
It was just over a year ago when the images from this chemical attack in Syria led President Trump to order a missile strike on a Syrian military airfield in retaliation.
That crosses many, many lines, beyond a red line.
But since that strike, according to Human Rights Watch, there have been at least 6 other suspected chemical attacks in Syria. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley saying the U.S. and 8 other nations will hold an emergency Security Council meeting today, tweeting strong action is needed. The regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad denies using chemical weapons, saying the videos are fabricated. And Russia is still backing Assad, warning that any military intervention could lead to the most serious consequences.
All right, so let's get right back to Martha, because, Martha, you and I were on the air just over a week ago when President Trump suddenly announced on stage in Ohio, we'll be coming out of Syria. Words that surprised the Pentagon, the State Department at the time, and now this. He meets with top-level military leaders today?
He does, David. President Trump has a previously scheduled meeting with high-level military leaders at the White House. If the president decides on a military response, it could come quickly. Last year, the American military response took place less than 3 days after the chemical attacks. Trump's comments last week you were talking about were about the fight against ISIS. This suspected chemical attack is being blamed on the Syrian government. And David, as you know, given what the president has already tweeted and knowing how he responds to images, I would not be at all surprised if he ordered a missile strike this time as well.
We're going to be watching this very closely throughout the day. Martha, thank you. Let's get right to retired Marine Colonel and ABC News contributor Steve Ganyard. Colonel Ganyard, you heard Martha just report there that the last time the American response was just 3 days after the chemical attack. Did the president's strike on Syria a year ago, in essence, set a new red line here? Does it ratchet up the pressure to respond? And what could he go after?
David, the last time the U.S. struck, about a year ago, the Syrians for using chemical weapons, it was a warning. It really wasn't intended to degrade the Syrian military. So they have now crossed that line when the president told them, don't do it again. So the president is going to have to, if he takes military action, do something much broader, something much tougher. It will be a strike that will be much larger than what we saw a year ago.
So, Steve, if he does take action, what does the U.S. have there right now ready to go?
The U.S. keeps a lot of firepower in that part of the world, as you can imagine, David. There are ships at sea. There are submarines that are capable of shooting Tomahawk missiles. Bombers can be moved into the area quite easily. So if the president does order some kind of a military action, there's plenty of firepower on hand to conduct that.
And, Steve, as you heard at the top there, Assad now saying these videos are fabricated even as the world watches the suffering. You've got RT in Russia now reporting that Moscow is calling this fake news. How do you verify that a chemical attack, in fact, happened, and what kind of chemicals?
It's difficult, David. A real chemical attack investigation would take weeks because you have to get on the ground, you have to look at the soil, you have to do the chemical analysis. The president has asked the U.S. intelligence community to come up with an answer in 12 hours. That is going to be very difficult to do.
All right, he wants that answer in 12 hours. Steve, our thanks to you as well.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.